Hi guys, this is Matthew from Warrior Pilgrim, and as you can see I'm in my medieval get-up, or near enough medieval get-up that I have. It's certainly more of an anachronism here, because if I just get my gauntlets on I can show you my outfit. This is all part of the video because I'm going to be talking about combinations of things that might seem odd. For that I needed to show you my armour, as well as some weapons, so I thought I'd get the whole kit on once I was there. So as you can see, first thing first, I'm wearing my, my cloak. There's a caplet style circle cloak, semicircle cloak. It can go down right to my knees, well, sometimes right down to the floor, if I'm not wearing my full shoulder guards. Now, just going to fold this back so you can see, this is sort of a halberd style with some leather boiders or pauldrons. I bought them at a reenactment market, and instantly a mate of mine thought that was me being kinky. He's a bit weird like that and cringes every time I get the whip out. So that's just him. But also underneath I'm wearing my shirt of mail, chainmail many people call it. I've also got some gauntlets here that are a bit dodgy because they're broken. I can't really fix them at this stage, but if I just tuck them, I use these archery gloves as well when I get the chance, but I haven't been down the archery range in a very long time. So I'll just secure them like so. And I forgot my arm guards. I knew there was one thing I'd forgotten, but, well, normally I wear sort of shin pads on my arms that are arm guards. Very useful when fencing. But underneath my mail I've got a gambeson. There's actually a fairly light gambeson. It's certainly more for decoration than anything else, so it's not that padded. So to give myself a bit more padding, I'm wearing my gilet, my body warmer under this. And this entire thing's well, heavy, but I can still move around fairly well. Though I will want to remove my cloak for fighting. I'm also wearing some greaves, some leather shin guards. Solid leather, but still useful. I've used them as chaps, and they're very good against arrows and certainly against branches. And of course, I'm wearing my small leather boots that I'll be using for the medieval fair. I'm also wearing a dagger. This one's actually a dirk that a friend of mine found. And it's still very useful, very sharp. He found it at a tank museum, and this would be my primary backup weapon, or rather my last ditch backup weapon. So we've belted onto my side. I'd also, if I was properly going out to medieval song, I'd actually be wearing my gladius, which I'd wear slung across my side and on my hip here. But if I just remove my cloak, because this is actually not very comfortable to wear, with all my armour, but it looks the part nevertheless. You can see my arm guards a bit more effectively. I'm just wearing my hoodie under this. It also means I can reach for my weapons. Now, if I was to pick what weapons I would use, certainly going out to the medieval fair, I'd actually go with these. This being my Master's Viking shield. It's a bit smaller than a standard Viking shield, but it's made of oak and very solid. Granted, it's been gnawed away at in the past, and it's been left in a very damp room for a very long time, but it's still effective, still very strong. There's also a padded glove that I'd probably wear to protect my fingers from behind and actually give it a bit more padding grip. But right now, it's perfectly fine as is. I can hold it in what I call the piston grip, which is where my arms are locked to my side. I can hold it pretty firm for a good long while, and if someone strikes at me, the piston action slows it down, and the rest of my body can also take the blow. Very good when shunting, and also very good at defending. But granted, I'll want to hold the shield out a bit more when actually engaged in a fight. One other feature you'll probably see about my mail is that it's got fairly baggy sleeves. Now this is technically a full-length shirt of mail, but since I sometimes wear it whilst doing archery, I find wiring back the links to protect the forearms a bit more, protect the upper arms a bit more, is actually helpful and gives me a bit more room in the wrist. Though I'm pretty sure most people would actually cut the sleeves back and actually, or even just get a shorter shirt. It's entirely up to them. This one works very well for me. My primary weapon would be this. Now this is technically a boar spear on a very short shaft, with a heavy weight on the end. I'm calling it a Zulu style ikwar, or a medieval style ikwar, if you will. It can do chops, it can do thrusts, and I can do all the play that most people can do with a spear. Plus, whilst I think it's technically got the same cutting power as a short sword with very little grip, it's actually, well, very little cutting area, definitely fairly light to manoeuvre around, so combine the two, I'm actually fairly mobile. Also, I think this will be very good at catching a friend's weapon if I want to do, say, what do you call it? Collie style fighting. That's the Filipino martial art. Because they'd often hold their weapons up like so they've got a bit more room below to do hooking actions. Not easy to do, but it's still doable. Plus I've got the boar spear lugs, so I can block and have a bit more control over an opponent's weapon. Could this work if I have a gladius? Well, if I hold it like so, I could draw my gladius and still be effective in fighting, and if someone ties up my gladius and tries knocking aside my shield, I can simply bring my ikwar to bear and thrust. Many people might say I'm slower there, others might say I've got a bit more power because I've got a weight of a shield behind it. Ultimately, I don't know what that will do. Are there any other weapons I could use in this sort of configuration? Well, I'll have to put these down. I've got a couple of weapons I can show you. First is this. I sort of think of it as a glaive or a mattock. Essentially just a big knife on a long handle. And this can be used in a thrusting action, though I want to grind that tip off to make it a sharper point. But I might use it as a hooking action, so I can hook aside a person's shield and then come in. The handle is technically an axe handle, and this is wrapped with leather. I'm not going to weigh around too much because it is really not that secure. As you can see, it wobbles around a fair bit, and I don't want to send it flying. But it's fairly manoeuvrable. It might be that I'm just feeling the weight of my armour, and this is relatively light in comparison, but I'm still going to be very careful with it. That's not the thing with this sort of armour, it feels heavy, and it does slow down a bit, but it does make other things feel light. But there's only one way to find that out, because I'm bringing out this, my master's old axe. Just going to remove the strap that I've sometimes used to sling on my back. I'm not going to be using this at the medieval fair because it's too overtly threatening. Double-edged and very effective. Still very strong and powerful to wield. I have not had much practice with this because it's been tucked away out of reach and I can't access it. But I'll have to put it back there because my niece is coming this weekend and I don't want her to come across it. It'll be way too heavy for her, she's only 3. But either way, best to be on the safe side, so I'm not going to be moving this around too much. But I've nicknamed it Backbreaker because not only does it have two edges, so you swing back too hard, it will catch you in the back, as you can see. It's also quite heavy and will break your back. So maybe my theory about weight not being too much of an issue, but that is not really much of an issue. Not really the thing I thought it was. I have to have that on record. But why am I bringing all this up? Well, some people, whenever talking about weapons, talk about combinations of weapons being more effective against others in a sort of battle royale situation. I'm more the person that says it's the warrior more than the weapons that wins the fight. But that's not always the case. And the deciding factor in that is actually the armour. Now, my armour is relatively lightweight. This won't take a thrust, but it will stop a cut. I've only got limited padding, so I'll still get winded, so it gives me a proper cut to the belly or across the chest. This will stop a sword from cutting into my shoulder. This stuff will reduce the amount of force going into a cut to my upper arms, even though that's technically not needed right now. This bit will stop. This bit is relatively flexible, but still covers much of my armpits. I need my arm guards on here to protect me, and my gauntlet is a bit thicker, but this is still fairly good for upper body stuff, and I can still manoeuvre pretty well. The legs, they're a bit looser. I could do a longer shirt, and I could possibly do some upper leg guards and knee tops as well, but all in all, you're able to move around, shift position, and get better angles. Ultimately, your legs can protect themselves, but these give me a bit more of protection. Plus my shield is able to cover the low line pretty easily. Yes, I could do with a helmet. I mean, I've got an arming hood to stop my hair getting caught by the mail, but it's not very good at defending against, well, against anything heavy. So if I'm getting knocked on the head, I'm in trouble. So I need to get a helmet at some point. But all this is still fairly effective and will keep me safe. Not 100% safe, but it gives me a margin for error. And that's the thing. The skill of the warrior can only go so far. So you need to be able to capitalise on the mistakes an opponent makes. Never have a style that relies on an opponent making a mistake. But the moment you see one, be able to take advantage of it. Or even entice them to make a mistake by attacking you in a way that's obviously not going to work. I only work with a few warriors, most of them very young, very inexperienced. So never ever try to set that up. Why do I mention this? Why is this through religion? This is a religious channel. Simple answer. Just because your arguments, your skill sets, your knowledge base is drastically different from someone else doesn't mean it is going to be inferior or superior. It's just different. Spartans were known as the best heavy infantry. Well, best spearmen, actually. The Romans were the best heavy infantry. I mean, the Carthaginians, they're the best cavalry. The Mongols, they had the best horseback archers. And we can certainly put the English yeomen as the best archers, as they would just fill the air with arrows. At the end of the day, it's not the individuals that matter, but the overall effect. So whilst my spear and shield setup are not going to win any prize on their own, combined with my armour, they might give me an edge. If I had a helmet, I would certainly be able to hold up fairly well, depending on what sort of armour I have. This can do thrusts, I can do cuts with it as well, I can still cover my angles, I can catch an opponent's weapon, clear their blade aside, and still land a decent strike. With this, it's twisted, but it works. But ultimately, those are just techniques. like arguments. You need to know how to move from one to the other and know that your equipment, your skills, your knowledge base will give you strength and a margin for error. Plus, you don't know what they've got. They're targeting something completely different and just launch at you. Then you need to know how to deal with it. Someone came at me in my own double-headed axe, for example. I'll be trying to not so much take the blows on my shield, but trying to position myself so if a blow comes in, I can steer it aside and still land a thrust. It's not easy. And if they're whirling around with an axe, I need to be able to move aside quickly. In short, just because someone has a knowledge base set in one thing doesn't mean they are inferior. And just because someone's got a broad base of knowledge doesn't mean any of it's going to be much use. So, don't assume your knowledge, your skill set, your armour, or your tools are going to win every single time. Just because you found they work most of the time for you. So stay safe, and God be with you. Salute.